Hello, WI Beginning Band. This is our trumpet lesson, number 1 in distance learning. We'd like to start with our warm-ups, or our sound production, and for brass instruments, we have a very different approach than with our wind instruments. Although we do like to do long tones, we're going to work more with how we are manipulating our mouthpiece. So back to the basics, when you're making the embouchure or forming your mouth for the trumpet, you want to cool the soup. So imagine you have hot soup and you're going, add the mouthpiece. And the sound should be effortless. So again, the two lips are connecting together with the mouthpiece kind of as a triangle, and there should be equal amount of pressure between the top lip, the bottom lip, and against the mouthpiece. The word pressure actually isn't really correct. We should have equal amount of touching because I don't want pressure. Everything should kind of be very relaxed and very, you don't want to push harder to get your sound. That is an easy way to get higher notes, but it is not the correct way. So as you're blowing, and remembering to form that embouchure, you can really just experiment for a moment and understanding that your higher sounds are going to translate to higher sounds on the trumpet, and your lower sounds will translate to the lower partials or the lower sounds on your trumpet. So we really don't need to worry about warming up too much with the mouthpiece, but you should be able to make a nice easy sound before you add it to your trumpet. Now, we have a very easy warm-up routine that I'd like you to continue forever, and that is lip slurs. So your combination of, here I'll turn it this way, open, middle, first, 1 and 2 is 4 lip slurs that we're going to practice. So you start with that. Wah, 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 wah. And that will take you down to the note A. So from A, we're going to go from A to E. We want to be mindful of 2 things. Your wind speed, so taking a nice deep breath and filling your tank, and how your lips are coming up and down, opening and closing. So if you have a hose and water's coming out of it, and it's coming out at the same rate, the flux, or the rate that the water will come out of the opening of the tube, can be changed by putting your thumb over the side of it, and it squirts out further. So it makes the water go faster, but you never turned it up here. The same concept is here. I could blow harder, but then all my upper notes will always have to be forte or loud. But if I bring my lips closer, I send the air through a smaller opening, and the sound goes up without having to go up in volume. Remember, I've been doing this for a long time, so it's easy for me. Don't worry if you don't get it. Go to the next one. First finger would be B flat, going to F. The middle finger is our low B, and it actually goes up to F sharp. And finally C. You notice we've got a little bit of a sticky valve. We're going to go over that in a second. That is C to G. Really important. If you can get those notes and you can really feel, I'm going to start playing to this side away from the mouthpiece. Away from the microphone. And the C really important, right? We're playing a lot of C's and a lot of G's. If you can really understand during your sound production how you need to manipulate your lips to get the higher and lower, then you can set your embouchure, set your lips before you play a G. So I would practice these four. Turn this way so you can see it. Again, slowly, and then if you want to speed it up, go for it. Or do them fast all on one. And so on and so forth. So let's take a look at this sticky valve situation. Some of us know how to do our valves, and some don't. So let's just take a quick look. I'm going to bring this down. And the key here is we're going to open up the valve using just this piece here. You don't need to open anything else. And when I pull the valve out, I want to just pull it up enough to expose the second part of the valve. And I'm going to drop 2 drops of oil. So be careful when you're doing this because this will stain your clothes. So maybe you want to do it over the floor. 1 drop, 2 drops. That's all you're going to need. Now I'm going to turn this around here before I push it in just to distribute the oil. And you'll notice there's a little plastic thing here. It's called a spacer. Once I put that into the trumpet or into the valve casing and I start to turn it, it will eventually click. If you listen, and now you know it's in place and it will distribute the air properly when you use it. Then you just put the cap back down. Now I always joke in class that you then have to do it 100 times. Some of these trumpets are hard to get back in here. Don't force anything here. Wait till you get it lined up properly and it should go in easily. And again, 100 times. Now I think 100 times is a lot, but it's really not as much as you think. I've already done maybe 20. Anyways, so that's that one. If that one's being done, I'm going to do the second one here. Again, I'm just taking the top part here. Okay, the cap, that's got the little felt in it. I loosen that, pull this up to expose the second part below the spacer, putting 1, 2 drops, spinning it around a little bit while the spacer is outside, and then in. Listen for the click. Won't go anymore. If you force it, it will, because they're plastic spacers. So if you force it, it's going to break the spacer. So again, gentle, and then find where the threads are. Take your time, and then it comes right back on. Key here is to do it again a whole bunch of times. Now, it doesn't really matter if you oil your instrument every day, every 3 days. It's really as necessary. But what I want you to be aware of is if you put too much oil on there, it actually will stop it from working. Putting oil on your trumpet is not going to solve where you're putting your thumb. I would bet almost all of you are putting your thumb here still, hooking the trumpet, and then grabbing here. And so when you're pushing down, your fingers are actually, it's almost impossible to get them in the right position because this thumb is hooked in here. When I take this thumb out and put it back here, between the first and second valve casing, underneath here and onto the trumpet, and it makes sense. Just think of Pac-Man. Walk out, walk out, walk out, walk out. It is very easy to push them down. If my fingers are over here, I'm actually putting a little bit of side torque on it, a vector of pressure that way, and they bend, and that is why they stick. So if you push them straight down and they don't stick, then don't add valve oil. I'm going to say that again. If you can push them straight down and they come up really easily, it's not that they need valve oil. It means your thumb needs to be in Pac-Man, waka, 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 waka position. Think about it. If you pinch something, you pinch like that. You don't pinch like this. So, again, if you're having trouble oiling your trumpet, everything that you do on your trumpet should be simple and easy. If you're about to force it, you're probably going to break it. So send me email or chat, have your parents call me, and I can talk you through getting all of these working. Oh, see, that one is not working. So, again, I did the first two. Let's do the third, and I'll get right back to you. Now that I got that third valve all oiled up and everything is working, we're going to go over our first 5 notes for band. And in our book, we are going to start on page 6, and we can look right into the golden box. We're going to use that golden box and the golden box on page 8, which has D and C, and combine the two of them. It shows you the fingering. It shows you where the note is on the staff, which is very important for reading. And depending on where you like to start, some of us like to play high notes. So then you can start from G and go down. G, F, E, D, C. Or if you like to start on a C, you can start on C and go up. We are going to keep our rhythm of whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, and eighth notes. So let's try it with C, 2, ready, go. Half notes, ready, go. Quarter notes, ready, play. Eighth notes, use your tongue. Teet, 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 teet. I could probably work on my tonguing a little bit. Let's continue that rhythm exercise with each of our other notes. So we've got D, and then E, and F, and G. And that will be the 2 golden boxes on 6 and 8. And again, for each of your notes, so on D, you're going to have another 15 notes. Your 4 whole notes, your 8 half notes, your quarter notes, and your eighth notes. What I'd like to say is that when you're done with that, you can look on page 6, and honestly, between 6 and 7, right up to number 12, you have all of these exercises using just the first 3 notes, E, F, and G, and it will work on your reading, but it's also a lot of whole notes. So if we look at up and down, number 5, it's a great exercise for a number of those ideas, both reading and blowing a long tone. So up and down starts with a whole note E for 4 counts, and then it has a rest, 2, 3, 4. Then an F, 2, 3, 4, and rest, 2, 3, 4. Then G, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4. F, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4, and E, 2, 3, 4. Let's try it up and down. Number 5, page 6. Deep breath, ready, go. Rest, 2, 3, 4. 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 Actually, there's no rest at the end. I think that you should play that one as many times as you need to. Don't get caught up if you make a lot of mistakes. Just keep playing, keep the rhythm going, and enjoy it. If we go over to number 10, which we play a lot in class, it's the same notes except for we're now using a different rhythm of 4 quarter notes. So we take a look at 4 in a row. And again, we're kind of skirting past our recipe, but we're going to use it in full, which is to count it, say it, finger it, play it. But if we count 4 in a row, we've got plum, 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 rest, 2, 3, 4. And if we say it, or say it and sing it, which is singering it, we've got E, 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 E. I'm looking over here because I'm going to turn my piano on. I like to sing the right pitch. I don't sing very well, but But my intention is to get the note as close as possible, and if it's in my head and my intention is there, it's going to come out more often as an E and not as the other partial, which is an A. So E, 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 rest. 2, 3, 4. F, 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 rest. 2, 3, 4. G, 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 rest. 2, 3, 4. E, 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 E. So it skips. Doesn't follow the same pattern as it did in up and down. So let's try it together. Number 10, page 7, 4 in a row. 2, ready, go. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Again, there's no rest at the end. I don't know why I keep counting. But, I feel music in groups of 4. I can feel the count going along, and keeping that tempo to me is very important, sometimes more important than getting the note correct. So keeping your tempo and and playing in time will actually make you a better musician than stopping and fixing all the notes. The notes will come. Let's take a look at take 5, number 12 on page 7. If you look at take 5, we will apply our count it, say it, finger it, play it recipe, and we'll notice right off the bat that as we count the first 2 measures, it's separated by an asterisk, which they say at the top of the page is a suggested place to breathe. But I really look at it as a way to separate our phrases. So music is just like speaking or singing. We have musical phrases, and in here that asterisk indicates that we have 2 measure phrases. And if we count the first 2 measures, we've got plum, 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 watermelon. If we look at the notes, we have E, 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 G. And now, oh, by the way, I noticed my thumb was moving over here too. So yes, sometimes I can be a little bit hypocritical. My son tells me that all the time, but your thumb should be over here. Back to what we were doing, we were just singing the first 2 measures and saying, or singering it, E, 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 G, and then let's play it. 1, 2, ready, go. Maybe you didn't get it the first time, so you try it again. And feel comfortable playing it as many times as you need to get that first phrase. The nice thing about patterns in music, 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 is that the rhythm for the next 2 measures, and then measures 5 and 6, and the last 2, 7 and 8, are the same. So we've already counted them. We don't really need to worry about that. We can go right to singing the next 2 measures, which is F, 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 E. Then we play it. G, G, E, E, F. G, G, F, F, E. Let's try the whole song. I want you to continue to sing in your head. So the whole process is count it, say it, finger it, play it. But when we play it, if you can be mindful of the notes and sing them in your head, you're very often going to find that instead of playing a low A, your E is going to come out. And your partials are going to be in the right place. So clear your brain, hear the notes, have the right intention. Here we go. Take 5, page 7, number 12. 1, 2, ready, go. Again, that's very easy for me because I've been playing the trumpet for a while. It might not be so easy for you, that's because you're a beginning trumpet player. So take your time with it, have fun with it. Don't worry whether you get it right or wrong. Eventually, it will come out correctly. Turn back over to page 8. We already did D and C. We notice that we have 2 pages of songs and exercises using just our first 5 notes for band. We've got half notes, we've got quarter notes, we've got whole notes. I think we're pretty familiar with these rhythms, and all you need to do is pick 1 or 2 of these songs, have fun with them. I would play them just to make sure you're reading your first 5 notes and you're ready to move on. Accent on trumpet, number 26, will tell you, it's like a self-assessment, if you can play that, you're ready to move on. So I'll let you make that decision on your own, but I'd like to move right on to page number 10 and introduce the note B. So B is going to be lower than C, and I think it's important that we make sure we have our C. And then we slur to the note, and we can really hear that it is going lower. And that is our new note B. It's in the golden box at the top of page 10. It shows you the fingering, and it shows you where it is on the musical staff. The note B is pretty cool. It is called the leading tone. And it leads back to C, which is our do. T, do, B, C, dun 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 dun. If you add the leading tone to our first 5 notes, you get a very nice musical phrase. So our first 5 notes for band with the leading tone B becomes adding the B will add a great amount of flavor to our sound because it adds that cadence of our other cadence would be from G to C. And again, a cadence is kind of like a period at the end of our musical phrase or an exclamation. Please play along on page 10 and experiment with B. Take a look at Marianne and look for the video on how to play Marianne coming to a theater online soon.